Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Tuesday night. Happy to have you in here for another primetime show. We got joint camp practices tomorrow in Minnesota for the Tennessee Titans, and we'll talk about the three matchups that are critical to watch over the course, or at least to pay attention to the coverage of over the course of the next 2 days before their preseason game on Saturday. We'll talk about where they match up best, and we'll talk about where they might match up worst. We'll talk about these things together, of course, and then we'll do a gone viral video because that's what we do on Tuesday nights. Always a pleasure to have you guys in. I know you're excited to talk about some joint camp work, to see your football team or to hear about your football team going up against somebody who's not in a Titans uniform, as they did against Chicago this past Saturday. We'll do all of those things, but first and foremost, I need you guys to share this show. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet it. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen is where you do so. If you are on Facebook Live, you can share. You can share now to public. That is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you are on YouTube or on Twitch, you can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel. You can do all of these things, and we would be grateful for you that way. William Jones says, Buck, you're fired, in a Vince McMahon voice. Well, apparently not, because here I sit with you in the show, or with you watching the show with a microphone in front of my face. So to the best of my knowledge, we're here, we're back, and we're better than ever on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Tuesday evening. I'm your host, Buck Reising, and I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful people at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, that's where you go to get your constitutional rights protected. Make sure you are informed on what it is that your constitutional rights are at amandajgentry.com. True Math Fitness, where I went for my personal training session this morning. You can go for personal training. You can go for group workout classes. You can go and just use their open gym as a member. And if you want to try their workouts for free, your first one is free at truemathfitness.com. Joint work is always a great time of year. It's more valuable to them than the preseason games. It's more good competition. It's good work for them to not only be able to scout themselves, but to be able to scout players on other rosters. As a front office, as a coaching staff, it's a great opportunity to get a measure of where your guys are at without the benefit of them having, intimate knowledge of who they're going to go up against on a day-to-day basis. Do you know what Titans reporters will be in Minnesota? I know Sam's up there for us. I'm not going until Friday. I'm not going to be there for joint camp practices. Like I said last night, it's just logistically difficult with the radio show during the middle of the day, and I would only be on their practices are a lot later in the day, so it would only be I would only be on the air for about 45 minutes of their actual practices, and we wouldn't be able to do player interviews because the players are going to be available at 2 p.m. and I'm off the air at 1. So didn't necessarily make sense for me to go to, but I will be there on Friday and Saturday for the game, of course, and we'll do the Lee Company countdown to kickoff on 104.5 The Zone. The pregame show we will do on Saturday afternoon with Blaine Bishop, Titans legend, and Mickey Ryan. Always fun to work with the boys. But I'm looking at the opportunities that this team will have to go up against some legitimate competition on both sides of the ball, and kind of trying to evaluate where my sense of them is heading in and where they will be throughout the course of these 2 days. Now, of course, we'll be able to react with that. But yeah, Sam is going to be up there for us. I think that I know Tehran is going. Sam is not staying for the game. I'm staying for the game. I think Koharski, and that might be it. I went the last time they did joint camp on the road was in Tampa in 2021, and I went to that. It was a bit of a logistical nightmare for me, so we thought we'd keep it easier on me and wait until Friday to get up there and for Saturday to do the game. So you can still follow along for all your great Titans coverage at a2zsports.com, and of course on the social media channels where Sam will be posting content all week long. We'll still have players on the radio show, and we'll have Mike Vrabel's press conference. We'll carry that for you as well both days, including Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. So with all of the things that are going on right now, you know, kind of where your team is at, or at least you think you have a good feel for where your team is at after the Chicago Bears game. They had a practice on Monday. They were in the bubble. They actually wore full pads. So I think that, you know, they're going into this with a different level of intensity that at least I'm accustomed to seeing, from Mike Vrabel. Typically he gives them a bit more rest, but it's worth noting that, you know, the vast majority of the starters didn't play in the preseason game. So for the starters, it makes sense that they would be in pads, and they're not going to put half the team in pads and half the team not in pads. It's just not feasible. So I think that where you are with your football team at this point, you got a pretty good grasp on the quarterback situation. Neither of them are really, I mean, Malik is obviously ahead of Levis. Like that I think is apparent to anybody who's paying attention, or anybody who's been paying attention to the coverage, even if you haven't been able to see joint camp or training camp practices, and preseason was your first opportunity to see both of them. I think anybody who's you know, paying actual attention, understands that Malik is clearly and obviously ahead of Levis, but it's not such a gulf between them that Levis is disposable, or that Malik is, you know, worth moving on from, right? Like it's more likely than not on August the 15th that by the end of training camp, they have 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. Mr. Jones says Willis is by far QB2. What game were you watching? Well, I just told you that he was QB2, or are you're probably arguing with somebody else. I did not. I'm not sure. I can't tell who you guys are when you're conversing amongst yourselves and when you're talking to me, but either way. Will they be hitting the quarterbacks in practices? No, they will most certainly not. That would be a big violation, and something that neither coaching staff would sign up for, of course. They are going to protect the starters as much as humanly possible. You know, they'll give them full go in joint camp, with the exception of live tackling. Like, they're not going to take dudes to the ground, and they're not going to allow them to hit the quarterbacks. Level of Robert White Stewart says, level of shock among your colleagues that Malik Willis has improved this much. I mean, I'm not shocked. He's a second-year professional quarterback. Like, he should be much improved. The shock would be had he not improved. I don't think anybody's shocked that Malik looks better than he did last year. Last year was disastrous. And so even if the bar wasn't low, like Lucas and I were talking about this on the radio show the other day, this is always what it was supposed to look like for Malik Willis, right? Malik Willis we knew that it was going to be a slow burn. Now, the NFL doesn't really allow for that. Like, either you're capable or you're not. And if you're not, they'll move on from you, or at least they'll put themselves in a position to move on from you if they feel like you're not up to par, right? And Malik, if anything, he's ahead of schedule, because he shouldn't have played as a rookie and did get live game reps as a rookie. So if anything, I would consider him ahead of where the learning curve is. I think that of all the places that they match up best, though, with the Minnesota Vikings for the purposes of these joint camp practices, I think it's worth kind of looking at a couple of different position groups. So we're going to go through three key matchups to pay attention to for the Titans and the Vikings, and I'll ask your Two Rivers Ford take to get this show started on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section. Where do you believe that the Titans match up best with the Vikings ahead of joint work tomorrow and Thursday? Let me know in the comment section. We will discuss at length together right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is made possible, as is your Two Rivers Ford take, by the great people at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service. Two Rivers Ford is the spot that Middle Tennesseans have trusted for 40 years of doing business with honesty and integrity. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, as I mentioned, and a non-commissioned sales staff that will do you right. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, powered by Ford, driven by people. So Robert says, I was saying that reporters were saying if it would be bad if Levis finishes third string behind Willis, I assume he's saying, instead of Levis twice, for this season. I mean, why? It's not context. Like, if it's because Malik has taken a substantial step, then it's not a problem. If it's because Levis is clearly and obviously like not ready for the opportunity, then it is a problem. But like the idea that Malik finishing, training camp ahead, even if it's incrementally of Levis, would be some kind of indictment. Maybe, but like you don't have all that information yet. That's still in progress. Like Levis has the opportunity to surpass Malik. Malik has the opportunity to continue to hold on to that job. So far, Malik is holding serve. So like you don't need to get bent out of shape about whatever happens with it. And if it is a problem area, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But to fret needlessly over Will Levis not, overtaking Malik Willis, who has been in the NFL for a year and has all the benefits that come with that, and the benefits of that, by the way, are substantial, then yeah, I'm not going to stress about that, and I don't think you should at this point either. Allow them at least a training camp before people get bent out of shape. But I understand that people want results sooner rather than later. Corey Prowl says, Buck, are you cool enough to hang out with, quote, the boys? Who are the boys? Like, are you talking about like Taylor and Will? Are they cool enough to hang out with me? Yeah, Will and I went to coffee the other day. Last week before, I can't remember. I think it was right before. No, last week. Either way, doesn't matter. If you're talking about them, yes, it's not like that. I love them to death, both of them. But it's not like they're cool enough to hang out with them. It's not like it's not like they have some kind of cool barometer that you have to meet. I've just spent entirely too much time around both of them in my life at this point. MB says most teams don't have much depth. The salary cap prevents that. Talking about depth at quarterback, I think the depth at quarterback is going to be beneficial. And somebody asked me today, you guys who follow A to Z Sports on Instagram, and if you don't, you should. Not just because every Tuesday I do a Q&A on their Instagram story about the Titans, but I was asked today on the Q&A that I do on a weekly basis. I was asked today about when would be the time to trade either Levis or Willis. And, Levis, the answer is no. But even Malik, like, I kind of go back to why the Philadelphia Eagles didn't trade away Andre Dillard last year, even though they probably could have gotten something for him. And a team like the Titans probably would have been interested in him. Because good depth is hard to find. And if they think that they have depth at the quarterback position, then, I don't think there's any need to move Malik. Like, there's no real reason to trade him other than you think you're going to, like, if you trade Malik Willis for a 6th-round pick, you're going to feel better about that? Probably not. Like, you're probably going to bitch because you drafted a 3rd-round quarterback and then gave him up for a 6th, right? Like, and even if a team were to trade for him, I think that it is far more worth it to keep Malik Willis and to have a deeper quarterback roster, if in fact you want to keep 3, than it is to trade him away for whatever pennies on the dollar you might get him back. Stephen King says trade Tannehill. No, nobody's trading Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's your starting quarterback this year, and anything other than that is just delusion or wishful thinking. Of all the legit questions that I ask and answered, you answered the boys' question. Good stuff. Well, listen, get in front of me more often. All I can tell you is I see what comments that I see, and tonight I've seen 2 of yours. So you've wasted 2 now, Corey. Perhaps bring it stronger on another night. No, I'm just kidding. God bless you guys. There's a lot of comments, and I don't see all of them. I don't see everybody's, and I try not to be. I honestly try to pick a couple of different people. I know sometimes we end up having the same, the familiar faces, but I do try and seek out new names if I can help it, like Ty K. Foster or Tyky Foster, however you prefer that name read. I would like to see each half starts. I would like to see each half stars next game. Start Willis first half and then start a rookie. Okay, so you're saying the quarterbacks, you want to see them start a half. Maybe they'll do that. Like, there's nothing, it's not out of the realm of possibility. They may do it like they did last week. They may do it the way that you want them to do it. They may do it by quarter. Like there's nothing yet. I assume that they'll go through Thursday before they make any kind of decision on it. And, Mike Vrabel will be asked on Friday if he knows who he's starting at quarterback. He's going to say yes. And then we're going to ask him, are you going to tell us? And he's going to say no. And then you'll wait until Saturday and you'll find out who's the starting quarterback and what their plan for them is, right? They don't tell these guys until the day before. Like they want to give them a little bit of prep time, but they want to drop them into these situations for specific reasons to see how they react, because this is as close to game-like situations as you are going to be able to create. But where do you think the Titans match up best with the Vikings in joint camp practices? Where are you looking forward most to seeing them compete? On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We will talk about it together right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com is where you get your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found at GaryAshton.com, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. So where do the Titans match up best with the Vikings? So, I'm going to say that their benefit almost always, no matter who the team is, their biggest asset or their best asset right now is the defensive line. And specifically, more specifically, I guess to branch it out, their greatest strength is the front seven. Specifically, it is the defensive line. Now, Minnesota does not have a bad offensive line group. Their roster's pretty interesting right now. It's probably, they are favored. They are the betting favorites right now in the NFC North, with Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay for New York and Detroit being fun and frisky, but not necessarily anything that I think people are banking on as proven commodity. There are the Bears, and the Bears are the wild card, I think, in that division, where people are going to look at Minnesota as a division favorite. I think the Bears making some kind of substantial jump could, of course, bog that idea down a little bit. But I think that the defensive line against Minnesota's front five is going to be what I want to watch. I want to see how much worse Minnesota looks, or how much better Minnesota looks as an offensive line group than does Tennessee, right? Tennessee's offensive line has not handled their defensive line well. Does Minnesota's handle Jeff and Tart and Autry and Key better, and Landry? Do they handle them better than the Titans offensive line group does? Do they have different plans in place? Do they find different ways to, and of course it's not live action, so they're not going to be outright bringing down the quarterback. But I think that is where they're always going to have, at least for the next couple of years, that's going to be their greatest strength. Now, weakness we're going to talk about here in just a second. But is there one that I'm not pointing out? Buck, does the offensive line get more work? The starting offensive line? I think without the context of the next 2 days, right, Roy? Because Wednesday and Thursday are going to matter. Like if the Titans coaching staff comes away thinking from Minnesota in joint camp, if they come away from 2 days of practice thinking, okay, that they got it done, then they'll probably not play the starting offensive line in Minnesota. If they come away thinking that there was meat left on the bone, or that there would be more value in them operating in a live game situation versus doing it in a practice setting, even though the preseason games really are practices. For all intents and purposes, they're practices, right? But I would say I would probably guess no, but I would also add the caveat pending, how the coaching staff feels about the offensive line group over the course of the next 2 days. So circle back with me on that, Roy. Well, let's talk after Thursday about that. Or I guess we won't talk after Thursday. We can talk Thursday night, right? We'll do primetime Thursday night. Eric Castillo says 68 needs to be cut now. Like, what are you doing? You know what? 68 is a great reminder. I think his name's Zach Johnson, if I remember correctly, for how often he got beat. I will pull it up in my. I pulled this out for my girlfriend the other day. The idea that I have this giant, massive binder of things Titans related that is all going to be in the all going to be embedded in my brain by the end of the preseason. Then half of these guys are going to get cut. But Zach Johnson, I believe, is the name of number 68, who was repping both at right and left tackle, but with little to no success at either position. Yes, indeed. Zach Johnson, 6'6", 301, another North Dakota State product. So your favorite university for drafting offensive linemen, he and Dylan Radin. Zach Johnson, a depth tackle that was signed this offseason, and a good reminder that there are worse offensive linemen out there than Dennis Daly. And it can't get worse. Like if Zach, so think about that. Zach Johnson, it's probably on blanket, Jalen Duncan, the 6th round pick, and then Zach Johnson. So I would remind you that Jalen Duncan is probably not a better offensive tackle than Dennis Daly is at this point in their careers. Zach Johnson certainly isn't a better left tackle. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind as you bemoan or as you get excited about the offensive line. Just know that you are super, super thin there, and that those two players who are backing you up could very well be worse than Dennis Daly. I mean, that's entirely possible. Stephen King says Cousins has way more swag than Tanny. We would win that trade. Trading Tannehill for Cousins. I mean, oof, God, I don't know, man. I guess they're just about the same. What is Kirk Cousins' playoff record? Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna look that up on Pro Football Reference really quick. But I don't. I mean, I guess that's kind of a push. It's not like Kirk's a bad quarterback, and just Tannehill has been consistently better over the course of a longer sample size than has Kirk Cousins. And I think Tannehill's done it with less around him than Kirk has traditionally. Kirk Cousins in the postseason, let's see. So he's 72, 63 and 2 all time in his career, but I believe that's just the regular season. Let's take a look at his postseason stats. How many times has Kirk Cousins appeared in the postseason? Oh, yeah, he's worse than Tannehill. He's appeared in the playoffs 5 times and won a single playoff game. Their lone win was he the quarterback for the Vikings when they beat New Orleans? Yeah, he would have been in 20, or I don't know. Was that the Miracle at Minnesota? I don't know that Kirk Cousins was the starter for that game. No, he played in that game. Okay. 19 of 31, 61.29 completion percentage, 242 and a touchdown. Sacked twice, and then they lost the next week to the 49ers by 17 points. It wasn't close. So Kirk Cousins is 1-4. Kirk Cousins is, he's not been a better regular season quarterback. He's not been a better postseason quarterback. So no, I don't think that is the case. Jonathan Caverly says, not fair, Buck. He's never had defense like Tannehill. Yeah, but you could play that game if you want to, because you know what didn't happen to Kirk Cousins? He had Stephon Diggs. And yes, Stephon Diggs did get traded away, but you know what he got after Stephon Diggs got traded away? He got Justin Jefferson. So you can do that. You can do that all day across all manner of different rosters. I think it's such a lazy argument by anybody to look at Ryan Tannehill and say, but the defense. Well, the defense was shit in 2020, and Ryan Tannehill was bailing the defense out. The defense was okay in 19. It was great for the first half of the 19 season. They needed them to be better in 19 when Marcus Mariota couldn't get shit off the ground. But they were fine down the stretch in 19. They were objectively awful. They were historically bad in 2020. They were much improved in 2021. And of course, the playoff game went against the Bengals that they did. And last year, they got hurt and they fell off a cliff. The defensive injuries last year, it's not a great sample size. His stats are way better, man. I don't give a shit about box score scouting quarterbacks. That's God, guys, I know counting stats are not unimportant, but don't give me his stats are way better. Look at it's like saying that Anthony Richardson is going to be a bad NFL quarterback because he threw a bad interception in a preseason game. Anthony Richardson, I've never seen a jump back pick before the way that Richardson threw, but Box score scouting is nonsensical. If you're not doing it with context, unless you're going to give me down and distance situations, unless you're going to give me situational football, if you're going to give me efficiency metrics, if you're going to look at the talent of roster that each has had across their career, that's fine. But don't if your best argument is give me your counting stats, then I'm gonna immediately debunk your argument because Blake Bortles has all kinds of great counting stats. You know why? Because Blake Bortles was getting his ass kicked in a lot of games and ended up chasing, ended up throwing the ball a lot. Phillip Rivers' stats looked amazing with with more playoff success than either of the guys that we're talking about. But for the most part, in situations where Phillip Rivers had to throw the ball, trailing late, counted, getting statistics, but not accounting for wins. It's the statistics that are most important, the efficiency metrics, have Ryan Tannehill at his best up there with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. Now, that's a 2-year sample size, and it's not like you can't distill anything down to a 2-year sample size. But I just watch the games, study the situations, give me something better than he has more touchdowns to interception. He probably doesn't even have more touchdowns to interceptions, or a better touchdown to interception ratio than does Ryan Tannehill, but I can look that up too. I have the value of the internet. So let's see, 252 to 105, 252 to 105. Let's take a look at Ryan Tannehill. Kirk Cousins does have a better touchdown to interception ratio. So I will concede that argument. With Ryan Tannehill having a 13-6 touchdown to interception ratio, Kirk Cousins has a better touchdown to interception ratio than does Ryan Tannehill. So I will concede to you on that front. That is a metric that does matter. LOL, watch quarterback. No, for what? Why? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna say it, Buck. Relying on stats is lazy. I'm not. Well, it's like, okay, relying on stats purely is lazy. Yes, that is so. Relying on analytics purely is lazy. I think that just as to decry analytics and say that numbers are stupid in football is awful. I also think that early stage Brandon Staley is just as bad, right? Being married to the analytics. It's like people who take religion or politics to the if you read the Bible, right? I'm not here to, you can have whatever interpretation of the Bible that you want. That's not my point. But to take readings in the Bible literally, right? When they are from thousands upon thousands of years ago, and to apply it to modern day sensibilities, probably not going to yield the best result, right? There are some certain circumstances, there are morality lessons in there. I cite that specifically because I'm Catholic, right? But if you're taking the Bible literally, every word of the Bible literally in 2023, then it's probably not applicable to a lot of real life situations at this stage. Music City Malik says, Buck, repent and turn to God. I mean, okay, wait, that's not my point. I think whatever. If you take a work of fiction, I'm not saying that the Bible is a work of fiction, but if you take, I'm trying to look at my bookshelf here, that I might have something that's applicable. Maybe not any good examples there, but things are not always meant to be taken literally that way. You can't use the analytics and solely rely upon the analytics. You can't ignore the analytics and solely rely on gut feel and just decry everything numerical because math is hard. Middle ground is where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Stephen King says, Buck is a Scientologist. I've literally just told you that I'm Catholic. I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm a practicing Catholic on a regular basis, but it's, the religious, yeah, B Friend says, bad choice on the Bible. Now we're going on. Yeah, okay. You're right. It's my fault. I shouldn't have done it. But I think you guys mostly, other than to troll, I think you guys mostly understand the assessment that I'm trying to make there. Middle ground, right? Middle ground. That's the play. You can use it as context. You can use numbers as context. You can use those teachings, for example, as context, but it should not outright inform your entire life. That's not how it works. C-Dub says, y'all just soft. Everybody's so butthurt in this era. Not your fault, Buck. It's not, it's my fault. I should know better. I just thought that was the first thing that came to my mind because I can't remember whose I think I was listening to Ryan Russillo, who made a similar analogy the other way about numbers, and it really, really struck me. But, anyway, we don't have to get down a rabbit hole. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Where do the Titans match up worst with the Minnesota Vikings right now? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I will tell you where I think they match up poorly with Minnesota right after I remind you that you will not match up poorly if you go with the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. In fact, you will be protected. Your constitutional rights will be protected with one of the fiercest legal teams around, if not the fiercest. Wherever justice demands, that's the words that Amanda J. Gentry lives by. She goes across the state to make sure her and her team go across the state to make sure that you understand, one, understand your rights, and two, understand how to protect yourself from people who might be trying to violate your rights. AmandaJGentry.com. Wherever justice demands, she goes above and beyond to serve you. So with the Titans right now, I'm still going to say, someone is texting Buck. Stop. Somebody's always texting me, Tuck Hendrick. I'm sorry. I wish I didn't realize that you guys could hear the thing. I don't know how to turn it off on my laptop, which is where that's coming from. So I apologize. There's thousands upon thousands of unread texts. So I apologize that you were subjected to what literally is digging in my head 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Anyway, Music City Malik, Amanda J. She don't play, y'all. That's right. That is the girl. So with can Amanda be a Jags fan? No, I think she's very much a Titans fan. In fact, I think she knows Mike Vrabel. But I can't speak to her fandom specifically, though I'm pretty sure she's a Titans fan. What do I think the Titans' final record would be? Well, if you've been watching the show long enough that I always answer this question the same. 0-17. I think they're going to have 17 straight ties. The first team in NFL history to do so. I don't do record predictions. I think they're dumb. I think they're a waste of time. And I think that even bringing that up, as Bert texts me, this damn troll, so I think, even acknowledging the idea of record predictions, I think it's stupid. Not that the question is stupid. I just, who knows? And frankly, who gives a shit? Their record will be whatever it ends up being, right? I'm there to cover games and analyze games afterwards, not to sit there and do win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. I think that's a waste of time. So where do they match up the worst? I think that the offensive line, despite a nice touchdown drive to open their preseason game in Chicago, that has not alleviated all of my concerns. And I think, it'll be an up and down experience for them this year. And there will be moments where you feel good about what you've got. And there are moments where you probably feel pretty bad about what's in front of Ryan Tannehill. And I know the popular opinion outside of Nashville is that they are far worse than you might have been led to believe. Now, I think that there are ways to mask poor offensive line play. I think San Francisco has been doing it masterfully for years. So Rand Carthon will have an idea of what it needs, who needs to be put in what place to be able to execute what they're trying to run. And I do think that Tim Kelly is going to be a boon to your offense. I think you're going to benefit from his presence this year. But I had Peter Skoronski on the radio show yesterday, Titans first round pick, sat down with me at training camp. And you can listen to the full interview. I believe it's up on 104.5 The Zone at YouTube, their YouTube channel. And, of course, you can live stream the radio show every day the same way that we do this show. But the full interview there in both the podcast form and on the YouTube channel. But like this clip, I wanted to make sure that I played for you guys and, just that we pushed this clip out on social media from the interview, because I think it really, really contextualizes like what your rookie lineman is having to do learning how to play a position that he's never played before, even if you just think it's as simple as bumping from left tackle to left guard. It's a lot harder to explain offensive line than it is maybe any other position group on the field. I feel like that's a group that people are very quick to make assessments about, when in reality, like, we really, really don't know all the different techniques and footwork, hand fighting, all the different things that you guys work on throughout the course of your preparation. For the audience, can you kind of articulate specifically where that difference is between tackle and guard? Because, I feel like most people look at it like madness, just kind of plug and play.
Yeah, I think things happen a lot faster on the inside. Obviously, you got guys a little closer to your body. You're not really setting back as much as you might see a tackle do, kind of kicking back. So things kind of happen quicker. You usually have bigger, stronger guys inside. Maybe a little less finesse, like in someone on the edge. So it sort of forces your footwork to be different. It forces sort of your stance to be different. It forces your hands to be different. So that's totally new for me. I'm going from outside to in, and also sort of my kind of the style of play I had in college, in terms of my hands and my timing, is wasn't really conducive to guard.
Sure.
So I kind of had to learn a lot of new techniques there. But happy with my progress. But like I said, it's obviously a lot different. And then you add the fact that you're in the NFL now and everyone's really good. So it's been a grind, but I feel like I'm improving and I'm kind of enjoying this learning process.
So that is Peter Skoronsky. Nashville SC having some shots on goal right now. I guess it's not shots on goal in soccer. I think that's hockey. But either way, shots on net attempts right now. They're getting some pretty good shots up right now against. Did they just get scored against? I can't tell if he missed it or he looks like he missed it. Okay. I'm watching the Nashville SC game in Leagues Cup because the winner of this will play Lionel Messi and Inter Miami, and to have this in Nashville at you. Oh, great save. Okay. Very nice. I have not seen. I know Lucas is on the call of the soccer game tonight, and if we weren't doing prime time, I would have been there. Shots on goal is soccer. Thank you, Eric. Sorry, might I get my terminology mixed up. Attempts at the pitch. I don't think it's quite that specific, but maybe we'll start using that as our own soccer metric. I hope Nashville SC wins, and if they win, it'll be because I didn't go to the stadium because I still haven't seen a local professional sports team win a game since November 17th at Green Bay. I think the offensive line group is still questionable, right? That's going to be my biggest question all year long. Like I said, I think it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride, and that's unfortunate for Ryan Tannehill. And they did the best job that they could piecing this group back together after they needed to blow it up. But I think that there's only so much work that they could have reasonably done that could be expected for them to do in the offseason. And right now it's just I just don't think it's a good enough group. Let's wrap things up with a gone viral video, and then I'll let you get back to the soccer. For those of you who are invested in Nashville SC tonight, I'm fired up. I know a lot of you guys have been enjoying the games, and it looks like a great crowd at Geodis Park tonight. The question I'm going to ask you in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch is this. Who has a better season this year? Ezekiel Elliott, who signed with the Patriots, or Dalvin Cook, who did end up finally signing a contract with the Jets? Zeke or Dalvin? Let's talk about it together in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Please let me know. GK says, "Hey, Buck, it's not fun watching or listening to someone like you who gets off on the thought of the team he covers losing. You don't give a shit, and it makes it not fun for Titans fans to see that." Well, yeah, I mean, I don't get off on them losing. Like I'm pretty honest with you guys that things like the AJ Brown trade or a disastrous loss to a team that they shouldn't like, those are generally beneficial to sports talk. Like those, though, you guys are more passionate and you're more reactionary, and it does generate more comments. To say that I don't give a shit, you're right. I don't care about the outcome of the game. The outcome of the game impacts me zero, none whatsoever. And my interest is in the job that I'm there to do, and the job that I'm there to do is cover a football team. Now, if that makes it less pleasurable for you, I would say you're assigning entirely too much value in how much you enjoy your football team from somebody whose job it is to analyze your football team. But if that's the way that I make you feel, I'd apologize, but I don't feel bad. Like I'm doing my job the way that I'm doing my job, and people continue to, I haven't been fired yet, so we'll knock on wood. I think that for the most part, I do care about the job that I'm there to do, but you're right. I don't care about the outcome of the game. The outcome of the game impacts me not. I'm there to do a press conference, win or lose, right? And whether the season is ending or the season is going to continue on, that's my gig. So let's keep it moving. Let's do a gone viral video. Who do you think is going to have a better season, Dalvin or Zeke? lot of answers for Dalvin in the comment section. We'll get to a video on both of them here in just a moment, right after I remind you about the fine folks at True Math Fitness in the Gulch, the best place to work out, a new place to get the best version of you. True Math Fitness is an awesome facility with an incredible coaching staff, and no workout ever recycled or repeated. That's really important to keep pushing your physical conditioning, to keep improving your physical conditioning. You can't just keep going to the gym and doing the same workouts, right? That's not the way that our bodies work. True Math Fitness understands that. They're going to maximize your fitness potential, and they have all manner of great options to do so. I was there this morning for personal training. I go to their group classes from time to time. Personal training works better with my schedule. You can do all of these things and just sign up for a membership at TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. So who is going to have a better season this year? People are commenting about, I do hate when we get bogged down in things like, am I a fan or am I not a fan? Like all this stuff. Like those questions do get asked a lot, and I feel like I probably answer them too much. Because like at this point, if you don't get, I know some of you are new every once in a while, but like at this point, if you don't get what the show is, like there's only so much I can do for you. You know what I'm saying? B Friend says, I can't believe Buck hasn't talked about Aaron Rodgers all off season. Well, yeah, I don't care. Now that he's a Jet, like I'm not watching Hard Knocks. I've never understood the public obsession with Hard Knocks. And like, I get it. It's football. Most of you don't get to go to training camp. I'm at training camp every day. You know what I know about training camp? Training camp's boring. Training camp is boring as shit. Like training camp is monotonous. Training camp is a lot of special teams work. Training camp is largely dull. Now, if they church it up with a little Liev Schreiber narration and some dramatic music, then okay, maybe it makes training camp more interesting. But like, I don't. Training camp is never something that has been, I have ever considered in my life, even prior to being an NFL reporter, exciting. And so the way that people consume training camp is wild to me. And I know, I see somebody advocating for quarterback. Quarterback, I just don't care about player sanctioned propaganda is all that is. If it was like, if they didn't get final say, if they were actually being covered in a way that I felt like was objective instead of, hey, here's my skew, I'm going to turn Kirk Cousins into a likable figure, when that really has nothing to do with what I care with. I don't care if Kirk Cousins is likable. I don't care that Kirk Cousins reads football books to his children at night. Like, I care about what Kirk Cousins is as a football player. Now, maybe that's lacking in humanity of me, but like, Marcus Mariota is a part of quarterback, right? I am willing to bet that the least interesting part of quarterback was Marcus Mariota. You know why? Because Marcus Mariota is famously publicly not interesting. And that's fine. Like, that's who Marcus is. Most of these dudes aren't interesting. Like, if they were compelling figures, Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is a compelling figure. Johnny Manziel is interesting. I still have my reservations about watching the Manziel thing on Netflix because I know Johnny got final say. So, like, if it was actually informative, if I was learning things, and maybe, I'm certain there's things that I could stand to learn from it, but like, do I care about Patrick Mahomes' family? No. I'll laugh at the internet memes of his wife screaming from the press box, and I'll move on with my day. That's about the extent of. I don't care about his brother and the legal charges against him. I don't care about his TikTok dances. Mahomes is probably not that interesting, right? Like, as a person, as a football player, sure, super interesting, incredible talent. But like, it's like trying to tell me that Tom Brady is actually interesting. Tom Brady's not actually that interesting. He's just the greatest champion of all time in this sport. And that, by extension, not his personality, makes him a compelling figure. But like I said, I'm not the audience. You guys are the audience. I'm not the audience for these kind of things. So do not let my opinion of these products impact you one way or the other. If you love football, go watch quarterback, go watch Hard Knocks, go watch Manziel, and enjoy the holy hell out of it. It's entertainment. But like, if it was something beyond entertainment, then I would value it because I want to actually learn something. And if all I'm learning is that Kirk Cousins, is a likable guy, okay, great. It's not for me. Gone viral. Who's going to have a better season? I'm curious to know what this is going to look like for both of these players. And I think I have a better idea. I think you can answer this question in two different ways. But first, here's Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network.
Well, Jamie, Dalvin Cook finally has a new home. He is going to sign a one-year deal worth up to $8.6 million with the Jets. Now, this is a strong deal negotiated by his agent, Zach Hiller, and LAA Sports. It has a base value of $7 million, which makes it, on an APY basis, the biggest deal signed by any free agent running back in this offseason. There was competition for Cook's services. The Dolphins were involved throughout. The Patriots had interest. The Broncos had interest. But from Cook's perspective, landing in New York and teaming up with Aaron Rodgers to try to win a Super Bowl was the priority. The Jets, after weeks of discussions, get the deal done. Cook headed to the Big Apple. Now, I mentioned the Patriots. What do now? They have agreed to terms with Ezekiel Elliott, the former Cowboys star, on a one-year deal worth up to $6 million. Now, as one Cowboys personnel member texted me yesterday, he fits their play style perfectly. New England wants to play a physical brand of football. They can use Zeke in pass protection as well as in goal line situations. He's the clear number 2 behind Ramondre Stevenson, but a good fit in New England. So where does all this now leave Jonathan Taylor? Well, he is back in the Colts building, but my understanding is there is no move imminent to bring Taylor off of the physically unable to perform list. He remains in rehab mode while his trade request and his contract dispute continue to linger, guys.
So that's Tom Pelissero breaking down the signings and explaining other teams who were interested in Dalvin Cook specifically. You know, I think Dalvin Cook could have a better season because I think the Jets are going to have a better season than the Patriots. I think that Zeke could be a more statistically productive player because I know the Patriots are going to run the holy hell out of the football, right? They're going to run the air out of it. He fits what they need to do. If you need 3 yards, Zeke will get you 3 yards. If you need 5 yards, Zeke will get you 3 yards, right? And I think that's what the Patriots are going to be in 2023. That's my anticipation. So I think you can answer the question 2 different ways. If you're talking about individual success, I bet Zeke Elliott comes out with a better season rushing total than does Dalvin Cook, counting stats, right? But where it matters, I bet that New York, you know, if Nathaniel Hackett is worth his salt to Aaron Rodgers, I bet that New York ultimately has a better season than do the Patriots, and that Dalvin Cook's season is ultimately more successful than is Zeke Elliott's. Robert White Stewart says, have you watched Oppenheimer? Now that sounds interesting. Oppenheimer was great. 10 out of 10 recommend. Oppenheimer, even and I usually have a policy like anything over 2.5 hours, I'm not gonna sit through. I don't care how good it is, because most of the time, if it's that long, it's not that good. Like, you could probably have told that story in 2 and saved all of us, you know, the trouble. But Oppenheimer was great. I haven't seen Barbie yet. I hear Barbie is exceptional for different reasons. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Haven't gotten to it yet. I probably won't get to it until it comes out on streaming now that football started. I can't envision a weekend where I'll have a movie theater trip in the next couple of months, but we'll see. All right. It's going to do it for us the rest of the night. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. Radio show tomorrow. We're going to have a great time. Join us from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. You'll hear from Mike Vrabel at 11:30 before the Titans start practice with the Vikings later that afternoon. Have a great rest of your evening, as I said, and enjoy the soccer. Turn on 104.5 The Zone. You can hear Lucas Panzica on the call. I'm getting a lot of the texts that I'm getting tonight are about how good Lucas has been on the call. So I look forward to. I don't get Apple TV, or I haven't signed up for Apple TV yet, even though I've got a 3-month free subscription sitting in my email that I should probably do and take advantage of. But I get all of the other channels like Unamas, so I'm watching the Nashville SC Monterey game in the Spanish language broadcast. So I'll probably leave the TV on and turn on Lucas here in just a second. Looking forward to talking to you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.